On the 7th of January 2022 this year, the World Meteorological Organization revealed that 2021, that's just last year, marked the 25th consecutive year in which the key Greenland ice sheet lost more mass during the melting season than it gained during the winter. This is something to be scary, isn't it? Welcome to the Climate Action Voices, and today we are going to discuss a very important subject on how we can be able to take climate action, bringing each and everyone together. This start of 2022 is a year that is called a year of climate action. An avalanche of climate action needs to happen in this 2022. As we know, the international community looks to build on the momentum from the Conference of Parties dubbed COP26 that happened in November in the beautiful town of Glasgow, where the world took forward pledges for decisive action and agreed in what is called the Glasgow Climate Pact. The new year began with two stark reminders about the consequences of the progressive warming of our own planet. Yes, as we know, on the 7th of January 2022 this year, the World Meteorological Organization revealed that 2021, that's just last year, marked the 25th consecutive year in which the key Greenland ice sheet lost more mass during the melting season than it gained during the winter. This is something to be scary, isn't it? 12 days later, the United Nations Weather Agency also confirmed that last year joined the list of the 7 warmest year on record. We keep breaking these records, not for the right reasons, but for the wrong reasons. As the world is heating up as we're speaking today, the global temperature is 1.1 degree above pre-industrial levels, and this is not universal because other parts of the world are warming faster, like Africa is warming faster than the rest of the globe. And that have detrimental consequences to people who are already impoverished and people who are already living below the poverty line, condemning them into situations beyond their control. This matters. Since the 1980s, each succeeding decade has been warmer than the previous one. And this is a trend that scientists expect to continue. Calling for action, we've heard across the entire world. We've heard even the United Nations Secretary General declare that countries have no choice but to go into emergency mode to tackle the climate crisis that we face as the global community. Global emissions continue to rise, but as they are rising, the suffering of ordinary citizens across the entire world continues. Global emissions therefore must be reduced by 45% by the end of the decade to reach carbon neutrality by mid-century, which requires an avalanche of action in this 2022. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, did say this during a press conference outlining his priority for the year. As he said that, meanwhile, we are seeing across the world intense rainfall from 2 separate tropical storms pummeled Madagascar in January of this year, sparking multiple crises across the country, which already suffers from a looming famine. As extreme events keep getting more worse, the calls for more ambitious climate action are growing. In fact, countries are already getting ready for the United Nations Conference of Parties, dubbed COP27, which will kickstart preparations very soon and is going to happen in Egypt. As we saw last year, we will continue to keep everyone updated on how the climate change discourse is going and also the actions that ordinary people are taking in communities. Young people seen just developing passion and availing themselves to retool their skills to do something that can touch a life. We need to celebrate these heroes and heroines. And therefore, it is very, very important that we see 2022 as a year for climate action, an avalanche year for climate action, because if we don't do this, the world is heading in a very wrong direction. And we cannot afford not to play our part, because if we do miss to take action and play our part, we may be getting into a path that is going to be very difficult. Until then, this was your host, Richard Munang, and see you next time. Thank you.